Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Stable. Today I'm joined by Teghan Cantrell-Bennett. You are an international young rider. You're also an under 25 Grand Prix rider for Great Britain, which is amazing. And a lot of people know you from TikTok, Instagram, you do social media, influencer type vibes, which is really exciting. So we're going to chat about all of that, working your way up the levels in the sport. You also have a livery yard. So absolutely loads to dive into today. But we'll start by speaking about how you got into horses.
So I got into horses. Well, a lot of people don't know this. My mum is actually a better rider than me. As much as I hate to admit it, she is. She has had horses her whole life. So did my nan. So I am now the third generation to carry on the horsey world in my family. So as soon as I was, when I was in my mum's tummy, I actually went to Europeans. She did a pas de deux. And while she was pregnant with me, so that's my only European title I have, and I wasn't even born. And then my first pony, my mum loaned a pony when I was 3 or 4, called William. He was an ex-show pony, he was a friend's pony, and he was just perfect for a first ridden. So I have literally ridden my whole entire life. I can't remember not riding.
Since you were in the womb.
Quite literally. So I've just never stopped. I loved it since I was a child. Obviously, my whole family's really pushed it. I'm really lucky to live on site on the farm. So I've always had the option to not do it as well, but I never didn't want to. It was like it was in my bloodstream. It's something I wanted to do, and I just pursued it all the way up until now, and I don't see myself stopping. So
tell me a little bit about your first pony then.
This is going to sound awful. I don't really remember him. My memory of a child is I have an awful memory, full stop, so I don't really remember him whatsoever. But I've seen pictures, he was a little grey, he was a tiny little pony, and he was perfectly behaved. He was an ex-show pony, like I said. And then Mum got me a second pony, which is the first pony I remember, really. And TikTok's recently seen her. I went to visit her because she's now ended up in a riding school locally. But she's called Sleepy. And she was a terror. She was so badly behaved. I can't even tell you. She was horrific. So she was more of like a lead rein pony, taught me how to ride, taught me how to stay on by the end of it. The amount of falls I've got on video coming off of that pony is unbelievable. But she taught me pretty much everything I know, as in walk, trot, canter. She was like my riding school pony. And she had me off all the time, like I said. But that taught me, it almost gave me resilience. So even today, if I come off, I get back on. I had no option. My mum was like, you fall off, as long as you haven't broken anything, you get back on. You get on with it. So I give all my credit to her in terms of resilience, for sure.
Yeah, so is your mum like a big inspiration for you then?
Yeah, massive.
What is a piece of advice that she's given you that's really stuck with you?
Can I swear?
You can swear. You'll get bleep, but you can swear.
Every time I compete, it's up. Every time. And every time I go into a test before that sentence comes, it's smile and wave. You gloss over everything. So if I'm in a test and something goes terribly wrong, that's in the past. You've now got another 8 to 10 movements, however many movements ahead you've got, you keep going. You don't give up. You just keep going. And even if the whole test is a complete shambles, you retire on your last movement. You get that horse through the test. It's a good learning curve, no matter whether it's a brilliant show, a bad show. It's all about learning. And my mum instilled that in me ever since I was tiny. If I retired, I got told off. I had to keep going. I couldn't just give up.
And in your younger years, was it always dressage?
No. I actually evented up until I was about 16, 17. The highest I went is metre. I did one day event at a metre. And I called it quits. Way too big. Way too big. And way too scary and too fast. I like my control and all 4 feet on the floor. But Bertie, who is also featured on my TikTok now, because he's now come home to me to have just an easier life, because he's 16 now, he took me all through Pony Club. We did all like the Pony Club champs, that kind of thing, but we never took eventing seriously. So although I did dressage ever since I was young, the jumping was kind of on the side. I never pursued it and never tried to qualify for anything. I did fairly well, but it wasn't ever the main goal. I was very much still loved the flat work, loved the dressage.
What did your mum think about you eventing?
Mum was fine with it. So my nan evented, and then my mum evented before turning to dressage. So they all have a background, a very well-rounded background, say, in the equestrian world. So being able to dip in and out of disciplines also made me a very well-rounded rider now. So like, for example, I will jump our youngsters. My mum won't do it because she's obviously older than me, and if she falls off, it hurts a bit more. So I'm the one that does the braking, the backing, the jumping, the hacking, the pole work, you know, things that maybe you might fall off in. Let's say I am up for doing pretty much whatever. You can put me on anything, I'll go and do it, which for a dressage rider is also, there's a bit of a stigma on dressage riders being a bit of a worse. I wouldn't say I am. Put me on anything, I'll hold on somehow. So that is definitely part of my career as well, because I do get given some slightly naughtier horses, some slightly trickier horses that I've had to learn to ride again, and it's just adding to my experience and my well-roundedness.
Mm-hmm. Obviously now you are an international dressage rider. Do you think having the background in eventing has helped you today and contributes to your riding now?
Yes, for sure. Definitely the braveness, and also just the standard of competition. Wherever you go, any show I go to, whether it's local, whether it's international, whether it's literally at home and I'm doing a anywhere dressage filming it, there's always going to be someone there who is better than you, who you look up to, who is, you know, and especially as a kid, it feels very daunting to go into that arena at a young age. But the fact I was jumping, having fun, and there was no pressure then, made today a lot easier, because I don't really get nervous. It depends. If it's a massive competition, I'll have a bit of nerves, but as soon as I ride down the centre line, I'm fine. But it has helped with the nerves, and it's helped with my braveness, and yeah, just the well-roundedness. It really does make a difference.
What age did you stop eventing at?
16-ish. 16, 17.
So what age did you start from? Like, what ages did we event from?
I evented from when I got Bertie. I got Bertie when I was 10, and then again I must have stopped at, about 16, 17. So about 6 to 7 years I jumped.
Mm-hmm.
But when we first got Bertie, he was a bit too much for me. And I think my mum realised that when we bought him. So we spent a lot of time, because I was tiny. I was a very small child. And then straight away I went from a 12-2 maybe, sleepy, to Bertie, which was quite a big jump because Bertie is about 14-2. So that was, I took quite a while to adjust to him and adjust to the size. And then once we got out and going, there was no stopping me. Mm-hmm. There was absolutely no stopping me.
There'll be people out there who are taking their step from ponies to like horses. I know 14-2 is still technically a pony, but a bit bigger. Would you have any tips on taking that step up?
Take your time. Absolutely take your time. It's a big adjustment. The movement's bigger. You've got a lot more horse to control. I don't like to use the word control. You've got a lot more horse to ride, and it is a big step. So just don't rush it. Take your time. Take all the time you need, and also build a bond, because you've gone from a pony that they're known for being more playful than horses. So for a horse to allow you in and allow you to make adjustments and allow you to ride into a fence or down the centre line in a dressage test, it is also mainly about bond. So you do need that time to build a relationship, a bond with the horse, especially when you're moving from ponies to horse, because it's a big jump for both of you.
Yeah.
Well, it's both horse and rider, I mean. No, I don't know who was talking about that.
Obviously, you have eventing experience as well then. Do you have any tips for anyone wanting to get into eventing?
Be brave and don't overface yourself. And who cares if you go out? So I'm 21 now and I go out and jump a 60 tomorrow against 12-year-olds. It doesn't faze me. It doesn't matter who you're against. You're on your own journey. Take your time. Rushing things is when accidents happen. And if there's no pressure, just enjoy your time. Just enjoy it. Go out. If you get halfway around the cross-country course and your horse feels a bit tired, you can retire. Make the right decision. There is no pressure for you to finish. It doesn't matter if you qualify. There's always next year. You know, it's just enjoy it. Enjoy the time while you're jumping. Be brave. And if something's not for you, then don't force yourself to do it.
How come we stopped eventing? What was that decision?
Ponies. So as soon as at 16, you obviously finished ponies in FVI. And I was getting a little bit big on Bertie. So Mum I turned around to Mum and was like, oh, you know, I'd like to continue jumping. And Mum was like, absolutely not. I've got 6 dressage horses here. I'm not buying you another one. And I thought, right, okay. So that's when my dressage career came very serious, or more serious. So that was my transition period. Mum just went, absolutely not. I'm not buying you a horse. Get on one of mine. And then here we are now. So that I didn't choose to stop jumping as such, but my love for dressage came stronger and bigger, and I loved it. And going up the levels, I was doing well, and it becomes so much more interesting when you start going sideways and you start doing some extended trots, you start competing, and then suddenly I had a GB flag on my jacket and I was like, this is so cool, let's keep going. And here we are.
What is it about the dressage that you love?
I love the training. I really do. And for people out there who say dressage is boring, I can agree with you. It is. It's really boring, especially the lower levels when you're doing change of rein, circle, pick up canter, trot. Like it is boring. But once you've spent the time, even if you don't compete, you spend the time at home working on a horse's canter. So even if it's pushing them on and then collecting and then pushing them on and then collecting, you'll look back 2 months later and go, my God, my horse couldn't even collect 2 months ago. And it's the reflection that makes you realise how far and how well you've actually produced that horse. And then you can go out and show everyone and be like, look what I've done. And it's like the showing aspect of it. You're almost presenting what you've made. And I really enjoy that. I do really enjoy that.
This episode is brought to you by Atlantic Harmony Equestrian, where clothes are more than just what you wear, they're how you express yourself. At Atlantic Harmony, we're not just another logo. We're building a community of equestrians who believe in connection, support, and making a difference. Our high-quality, stylish apparel is designed for riders who value both function and fashion, while supporting sustainable practices. Join a brand with a purpose. Visit atlanticharmonyequestrian.co.uk and be part of a community where style meets empowerment. Atlantic Harmony, where riders support riders.
Let's speak about working up the levels then. Do you remember your first ever test? Or maybe your first ever affiliated test?
I remember my first ever affiliated test, especially on horses. My first affiliated test on Donna, who I still ride today, which is my mum's horse, as much as I think she might, she's not, was an advanced medium at a local show. It might have even been a medium, but I was in a short jacket, I remember that, and I remember being so nervous because my mum obviously rides amazingly, really well, all the way up to Grand Prix at that point. So for her to let her 17-year-old daughter take her Grand Prix horse out, I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of pressure. This is a lot of pressure. And there wasn't pressure, but I was putting it on myself. And I think I came out with 69%, and I was like, oh my God, I did it. And it was just really enjoyable at the end of it. But I did put too much pressure on myself back then to do well. I didn't need to do well. So yeah, I do. Yeah, I did love it. It was good fun.
Any tips for dealing with pressure and nerves?
You're on your own journey. You are on your own journey. I cannot stress this enough. My mum has said this since I've been riding forever and a day. And even the other day when I was at a show and I came second only by 0.2%, and I was so annoyed and kicking myself because it was my mistake. She said, it's your own journey. You know, you can't, what's happened. It doesn't matter who beats you. It doesn't matter who gets selected. It doesn't matter who has lost. No one cares. And I think in our heads as riders, we're like, oh my God, everyone's looking at the score sheet. Everyone's looking at this. No, they're not. I couldn't tell you who came last in the last 3 shows. It doesn't. And if I do come last, I am such a good loser. Love losing. I always say raise a glass to come in last. You know, it's a learning curve. There's nothing you can do. The scores happen. The test has happened. And you've just got to accept it as a complete, like a learning curve. And it is your own journey. Stop putting pressure on yourself to do well. It doesn't matter.
You spoke about there how you put pressure on yourself because you were riding your mum's horse for the first time, her Grand Prix horse. How do you think having a mum like yours is a good and a negative thing? So obviously you spoke a bit there about there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Is there any other negatives that come with having a mum like yours?
Well, she doesn't necessarily put pressure on me. It's more my own brain.
Yeah.
I'm quite a busy brain. I'm also I'm not diagnosed, but I reckon I've got ADHD. I think everyone in my family does. I'm quite hard to live with because I'm quite high energy. But the positives to working with my mum is she is an inspiration. She was a single mum, raised 2 kids, gave me every single thing she possibly could, as in horses. She got me ponies when I wanted them. You know, she didn't absolutely spoil me. I still had to work for it. And I did have to get up before school and go muck him out and etc. Come home, put him to bed, ride him, etc. However, the negatives are we work together, we run a livery yard together, we live together. She's my boss, she's my trainer, she's my everything. And we do just get on top of each other. And some days it's like, okay, I'm just going to give you some space today and I'm just going to go do my own thing. Because it is, as you can imagine, you spend so much time with someone, you get in the way of each other. And there's a lot of people out there who can't be trained by their parents. And that is one thing that I've had to learn to get over. My mum is boss. My mum is also my trainer. There is a line between my mum, my boss, and my trainer. We almost have like a flip switch. When I'm in a lesson, I'm in a lesson. There's no arguing. You just get on. I'm on her horse. What she says goes. So that is the line that I had to learn more than mum. But I can't. There's really not many negatives. Everyone falls out with their mum every so often, but mine and my mum's fallouts are normally over like what rug a horse should be wearing.
Yeah.
And I think it should be in a cooler and she's trying to put 6 rugs on her and I'm like, no. And then but as long as I always know that she is boss, then what she says goes, and that's absolutely fine. I can have an opinion, but we keep it very clear between mum, home time, and horses, if that makes sense. But she's also my number 1 fan. I can't fault my mum. She's phenomenal. She is my absolute number 1 fan.
Your biggest cheerleader.
My biggest cheerleader. If she could have pom-poms and drums, she would. But absolutely not near Donna, because Donna is so sensitive. So, yeah, my mum and my nan, biggest supporters by far.
We spoke about your first affiliated test there. What age was that? What age would you have been?
16-ish.
How has your training changed from when you were 16 to now? What would like a training routine, like a week in your life training have looked like back then, and what does it look like now?
Well, at 16 I was still going to college. I did 4 A-levels, or the equivalent to 4 A-levels. I did 2 in-house at my local college, or sixth form, and then I also did 2 at Hartbury, which was called the ACE programme. So as well as studying, I obviously had less time. I didn't have the livery yard. Then I'd help mum. Like if mum was away, she'd pay me to finish up rather than paying a groom. And that was like my little bit of income. I was riding on my own then, but I had more lessons then than I do now, because obviously I'm more experienced now. And mum would kind of oversee everything and make sure that when she rode Donna, she'd then tell me after her ride that she was slightly stiff on the left rein. So then I'd work on the left rein. You know, we were always in the loop, and that still stands today. Mm-hmm. But today I'm a little bit more on my own. I kind of just run my day how I like it. When I ride, I can ride when I want to ride. Mum might ride in the morning, I ride in the afternoon, and then we just kind of fit in with each other. If we do need to be there when she's on a horse or when I'm on a horse, or if we need to run through a test, and we'll just book it in the night before, sort everything out. But today, mainly, I train most of my horses on my own now, unless I need mum's input.
Yeah. So your mum is your main trainer. How does it work with booking lessons in with her? Do you just be like, come give me a lesson, or have you got to cut it in advance?
No, I'm normally on a horse and having, not necessarily a problem, but just something where maybe they're a little bit, again, stiff on the left rein and I can't quite free her or him up. So I'll normally stand in the middle arena or stand by the gate and go, Mum, need your help for a minute. And then she'll come out and help me. But if we're preparing for a show, we'll sit down, say on the Sunday before the week of the show, and she'll go, right, I'll give you a lesson on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever. And that's how we kind of do it. I don't necessarily book them in unless we have got something coming up. Otherwise it is just ad hoc. If I need you and you're there, then come out for 15 minutes, or I'll go and help her for 5 minutes. You know, we just work hand in hand when we can.
Yeah. Let's have a chat about working up to levels then. So, yeah, just speak me through that process. What's that been like? The highs, the lows, the in-betweens?
Donna is, although she's my heart horse and we have had her since she was 3, my mum produced her since a 3-year-old. She as everyone on the circuit knows, she is the most sensitive horse, and all it takes is a tannoy to be a little bit too loud and you've lost her in that test. It freaks her out. You can't bring her back from it. We have tried everything. At home, she is a saint. You can blast music. She doesn't care. And that was the biggest lesson I learned in my career, because one day, so I was at a 3-day stay away show. The first day I could win with 75%. The second day I could lose with 61. And it was the same horse, same test, just a different day in a different arena, maybe with flags, and the flags were a bit too much. So especially at like 16, 17, that was a very tough pill to swallow, to be first and then last and then first and then last for about 10 times.
Yeah.
But it does teach you how to lose. And again, it's all learning. It's all learning. You can't tell her off for it. We get scared of stuff in life. You can't tell her off. So you just have to keep plugging away and keep going and don't give up. And yeah, it's just a hard lesson to learn. And I feel for anyone who is going through the same thing, because it ended in tears, and then I'd laugh about it, and then I'd be in tears again. But I don't really cry in front of people. If I was going to be upset, I'd never take it out on the horse. It was never Donna's fault. It was never ever Donna's fault. It was just the environment was too much for her. But I would go back into the lorry, Mum would put her away, and I'd just take 2 minutes to myself and go, that was really bad. I'd cry, and then I'd be okay again. So if you need those 2 minutes, have those 2 minutes, but have it in private and keep it away from your horse. Your horse doesn't deserve that. Mm-hmm. Laugh about it. You get to a point where you laugh. And it's like when you fall out with a friend, you always go, oh, well, in 3 weeks we'll be laughing about this. It's the same. I went to Hickstead last year and we left early because she was so stressed that I came home, went to the pub and thought, fine. So money wasted, but it was a lesson learned. We probably won't go back there again because Donna doesn't enjoy the environment, but what can you do? So you get to a point where you've done it so many times and you've come last so many times that it's just another one, and it's okay. It's completely fine. There's nothing to be sad about. Fine, I haven't qualified for Europeans ever. Fingers crossed this year, because I've been doing it too long to not go to Europeans. But so what? At least your horse is happy. You've taken the horse out of the environment. Just have a laugh about it, because it's not the end of the world.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't do dressage, I'd like to give a little bit of context before we go any deeper on what the levels are and how you work up them, how you qualify for things. Can you give us some context?
Okay, without going into too much detail, you have prelim. Well, no, you have intro first, which is walk and trot. Then you have prelim, which is walk, trot. All the rest of the tests are walk, trot, canter. Novice, elementary, medium, advanced, PSG, into 1, into 2, Grand Prix. So there are quite a few levels to work your way up. From advanced medium upwards, it involves changes, which are flying changes, change of leg and canter. And from medium upwards, you do half passes, which you carry all the way through to Grand Prix. But in terms of qualifying, as soon as you're affiliated, you can qualify depending on what section you ride at. So there's gold, silver, bronze. I'm pretty much always in gold because I've ridden at Grand Prix. So therefore, it's not fair if I'm against people who are just starting doing a novice and I'm taking a youngster out to a novice. I don't deserve to, it's not fair if I compete against them. So that makes the system more fair and more even throughout. But depending on what section you're in, you can then qualify for either regionals, which is then a slightly bigger competition. Then if you do well at regionals, you end up at nationals, which is the biggest competition in this country if you're not going international. And then you've also got Pet Plan for the, normally quite a few of my younger clients go through that, and it's almost like a stepping stone for them. I also started in Birds, which is now called BD Youth, which is British Dressage Youth, which looks after the kids and gives them, you can go to camps and stuff. And it's also more of an age bracketed competition rather than the 12-year-old being against the likes of a 50-year-old. And then in terms of internationals, you have to go to a Premier League. Just so confusing. There's so many different branches off of it. So you have to be competing at medium upwards to go to a Premier League. And you have to be competing at silver or gold. BD, don't come for me if I got that wrong, because I might have got that wrong. I think it's silver and gold. Might be, I can't remember. But medium and upwards, you then go to a Premier League. You then have to get a certain score at the Premier Leagues to then be in the running for international competitions. So as long as you've got that score, the selectors at BD offices can then see that this combination, this horse, this rider, and however many scores they've got is now compatible to do an international. And then you put your name down for them, and then they will either choose to send you or not. But there's so many that, again, if you don't get selected, I haven't been selected every single time. It's fine. There's another one coming up. So you just have to keep going for your scores, keep topping them up every so often, make sure that you can show your consistency, which for me is impossible. And just that you're still going out there and still doing it, that you're still interested, put your name down. Even if you do get selected, you don't have to go. Or say you've got a lame horse, don't feel the pressure that you have to make this horse sound by the time that competition comes around. It's fine. You don't pay your entry until you leave most of the time. So in terms of branches, yeah, you've got BD Youth at the bottom for the kids. Then you've got the age system, which I'm in, which is ponies, which is up to 16. But this is all FEI, so you can go international with this. You've got ponies up until 16, then juniors up until 18, then young riders to 21, and then Grand Prix or under 25 Grand Prix up to 25 years old. And then the rest is all seniors, which is what I just spoke about. All of those systems in there.
Yeah, no, very interesting. That was very helpful.
It's really confusing. It's really confusing. There's just so many branches. And my mum's probably going to listen to this and think, well, you didn't even mention that. And I'm going to go, sorry. But yeah, it's a really good way to jump up the levels. And there are certain criteria you have to meet before you get to the next level. That's only really advanced to PSG. So you just make that jump. But other than that, you can go in at whatever level you want and just have a good time. Yeah. It is very open these days. You used to have a bit like BS used to have. You used to, once you jumped a certain amount of rounds, you had too many points to keep jumping that height. So they used to have that in BD and they scrapped that. So I can now, even though I've ridden at Grand Prix internationally, I can then tomorrow take out a horse at prelim. And as long as I'm in gold section, it doesn't matter. But it just means I can still work in every single level from bottom to top, which is really helpful as well with the youngsters. And also with any experience to say, for example, last year I was riding at under 25 Grand Prix. This year, because Donna is now 20, we have decided to drop her back down to under 21s. So I've made the jump from Grand Prix back to PSG, and I go to local shows and I run through them. And it's just, yeah, it's really helpful to be able to go out and not just compete at that one level anymore.
Yeah, so obviously you've spoke about that you can kind of go up and down the levels depending on what horse you're on, how you're feeling, etc. So say someone, let's just use an intro for an example, say someone's doing an unaffiliated intro. Yeah. How do they know when they're ready to step up to the prelim?
I always said if I got 370s, I'm ready to go. Okay. So if I go out and get 370%, or even 2, it depends how often you go out. As soon as I got 3 scores over 70%, then you can make the jump up.
And do you use that in your affiliated as well? Yeah. As your rule?
As with the younger ones, yeah. It's not so much Donna because it's normally me. She's not the problem. She knows her job. It's normally me who can't count my tempi changes, or God knows, or I've gone the wrong way. That's not her fault. But especially with the young ones, I can't remember what we're talking about. See, this is my ADHD. It's gone. The brain's gone blank. It's like,
We're speaking about when
oh yeah, the 70s. Yeah. So I will always, it helps qualification as well, because you normally have to do 3 tests to qualify for regionals over a certain percentage. So as soon as I know that horse is, and as soon as the horse feels secure at that level, I go, okay, let's push you up one and see how they react. And if that is a little bit too much, then we come back down again. But for when I was growing up, I went off the 70 rule because I was so like, oh, come on, let's go next level. Next level. Mum was like, no, you've got to smash this level first and then you can move up.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip. I like that one. Have you got any other tips for anyone who's wanting to get into dressage, whether it be affiliated or unaffiliated?
In terms of shows, if you're trying to get into, so if you're doing flat work at home and going to a show is a bit daunting, there's a program called Dressage Anywhere now. There's quite a few, but I remember that one, Dressage Anywhere, where you can film your test from home, send it in and have it marked. So if you don't want to go out and feel like you're going to humiliate yourself, it's almost like it's a bit of reassurance for you. The fact that you can send a test in, have it marked by a normal judge that you would do at a show. They send it back with your score sheet everywhere you can improve on. And then you can work on those bits before going out. So it's just a bit of reassurance for you. But if you are wanting to go to your show straight away, I will always train my horse one level higher than I compete.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, again, a reassurance thing. So I know that horse is absolutely fine and capable of going out that level, and I'm not pushing him or her too much. So that is also something that we always worked on, was always training a little bit harder at home, so that when you go to a show, it's a little bit easier and it's a lot less pressure. So you can go into that test and kind of go, oh, okay, this is quite easy. I'm okay with this. And it just calms the nerves, makes you feel better, makes you more relaxed, which again makes your horse more relaxed. And it's just a better experience for both horse and rider involved.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of people out there watching this who do unaffiliated. How do they know when they're ready to do affiliated?
Hard question. I think as soon as, if you're not going to run by the 70 rule that I have, 370s, then as soon as you feel comfortable. It is a harder competition. As soon as you go affiliated, you've got the likes of top riders, even if you're competing at prelim, like I said earlier, who are taking top bred horses out to a prelim, and you then have to compete against them, whether you're on a pony, whether you're on a thoroughbred, whether you're on a really nice dressage horse, you have still got the higher riders in that section now. So as long as you're comfortable and you feel your horse is ready, go for it. There's no harm in trying.
What is the difference between affiliated and unaffiliated in the sense of how it feels, how that warm-up feels, the environments, the competitions? How do you feel that they're different?
It's unaffiliated is run under BD rules. So they are run very similar. It is just the calibre of horses. Is that a word? Calibre? Yeah. Calibre of horses and riders in there. So unaffiliated, for example, there's people in there who are mums who just want to go out and give it a go. Whereas affiliated, you've got people who are going to qualify, they want to qualify, they're trying to get their scores. So I would say affiliated is a little bit more serious, and it's a little bit more for people who maybe do this as a job rather than just as a hobby. But then equally, people as a hobby can do affiliated. So it's very mixed. It is very mixed, but you do have to expect that there are going to be a higher calibre of horses in affiliated rather than unaffiliated.
Let's speak about present day then, the kind of level that you're competing at and the goals that you have coming up.
Goals is, my dream goal is Europeans. That is something I've been working towards for the last 5 years, but as you know, Donna isn't very reliable, or hasn't been up until now. Fingers crossed now she's got older, she's kind of chilling out. But yes, that is my main goal. With the others, I've got another horse coming through called Romeo, who I have very kindly been given through Carl Hester. So I also train with Carl Hester. So that is one of my goals, is just to improve him and keep going, because obviously I don't own him, so I want to do a good job for his owner. And I also want to see, because like I've said, mum trained Donna, I would like to train a horse of my own to Grand Prix. He's currently at PSG-ish, learning changes, tempies. He gets his legs in a bit of a muddle sometimes. So we are just taking our time with him. But to get him out is one of my goals. Europeans with Donna. If I don't make Europeans, again, not a problem. I will just keep plugging away, and I will probably step up again to Grand Prix. And while she's still telling me that she feels fine and she doesn't feel like slowing down anytime soon, she's nowhere near retirement, she's like a spring chicken, I will just keep gaining experience at Grand Prix while I've got the chance. And then the rest of my horses, again, just training at home. Maybe a couple of arena hires with the young ones. I'm not really fussed about young horse classes. Sometimes I think they push the horses too far, and 2 of mine aren't ready, so they're just not going to go. They don't need to go. I don't need them graded. There's no water off my back at all.
You obviously go international as well. How do those shows work?
Those shows are a lot more clean cut. There are rules. Like, for example, you can't take your horse out the stable even for a hand graze without a number on. They have to, if a steward came up to you, they have to be able to see your number, and they have to know what horse and combination you are. There's also wristbands. So most of the time they're a stay away show, and you can't go into the stables because if you don't have a wristband. So you have to almost be authorised to go into the stables because of the drug rule. So it's very easy for me to go in there and give a horse a sugar-free polo, when actually a sugar-free polo will show up in a blood test as something that's not allowed in the bloodstream. I can't remember what's in it, but I know that off by heart. But it's very easy for, say, I don't know, my boyfriend to come with me and just give her a polo, and I'll be going, no, 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 no. You know, it's just to keep that area a little bit more controlled. And then you have a trot up. And the trot up is basically to see that your horse is fit and ready and not lame for the show ahead. And you have a steward, a vet, and a couple other people there watching you run the horse up and back again. So you walk for about 10 metres, then trot for 20 metres. You then turn the horse around, trot back, and then walk again, and then halt. And they will say you're either through, or they'll represent, or you'll be represent when you have to run again, or they'll say that horse is actually lame, or we don't believe that she or he can compete. So then you get turned away and you go home. But hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, never happened to me. I think I would cry if that happened to me, especially if I'd gone all the way to the other end of the country. But with the trot up, one of the things people don't know, if you ever trot a horse up, even if it's for a vet, this just is a ground rule, turn the horse away from you. So you walk the bigger circle, you can't turn the horse towards you. Couldn't tell you why, it's just the correct way to do it. And I've been told off by a vet before for just spinning it. I was like, oh, sorry. Sorry, I'll do it properly next time. But in terms of the international shows, they're mainly the only bits that change. Obviously, the calibre is top. You are now at the top of the sport. So it is a harder competition and it's harder to win, but the prize money's higher, for example. It's just a step up again from your local shows and your Premier Leagues and everything that you've been qualifying for. If you get to an international, that is peak. It's pretty much peak of my career so far.
Mm-hmm. What does your routine look like before you go to an international competition? So maybe like the week lead up, what is your routine?
So we only really take Donna. So because she's 20, we give her quite an easy week compared to others. She'll probably be, so 3 days before she'll have a day off. Then 2 days before she'll have an easier, well, no, we'll probably work her 2 days before. So she'll have a little bit harder time, maybe a test run through, a little bit more sideways, a little bit more, it's just harder work for her that day, just so we know she's got that in her, ready for the day of the test. And then the day before she'll probably just have a stretch. And like I've said this whole podcast, you can't predict what she's going to be like. So it doesn't matter how much I work her, it doesn't matter how much I don't ride her. What I get on the day is what I get on the day. So as long as in my brain, the test riding is more for me, that I know I can get through that test, I know where I'm going, I know how to set up a certain movement, and it's just helpful for my brain more than hers, that it's almost secured in my brain. It's really weird. I just feel like I have to run through it so I know I can do it. I know I've done it. So then when I go in there, I just feel more confident. And then we'll also bath them before she gets a bath before she goes. She'll probably have physio the week before the show. We'll make sure farrier's done. We never have the farrier too close to competition, just in case they were to prick them with a nail or something really silly and she went lame. It's just not worth the risk. You just leave that time just in case. And yeah, bath, pack the lorry. Packing the lorry is the worst part. The worst part by far. It's awful because there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
From your everyday life, like her rugs, for example, they're always outside her stable. And I'm like, right, well, that stinks. That needs washing before we go, because I'm not walking around a showground in that. And then you've got the tack, which I am awful at cleaning. I never clean my tack. I'm too busy. So then I've got to clean all her tack, and we always take a snaffle and a double bridle. So we have the option of both. And then it's just a silly little thing like girth covers. We have like a fluffy girth cover that goes on her girth, between the girth and her skin, just to make it a little bit more comfortable because she is sensitive. We change it to white at a show. I've forgotten that many times. So it is just making sure you've got everything and more you could possibly need.
Yeah.
And even like feed. We normally put it in plastic bags. So we make the feeds, put them in plastic bags, and then tip them on the day when we get to the show so that they're ready made, rather than taking a whole sack of, Alpha A and a whole sack of nuts. We just try and break it down, because there's also not a lot of space in that lorry, especially when we're living in it as well, with all of our stuff and the horse's stuff and the tack and trying to travel the horse and the hay. The shows don't supply hay either. They supply the bedding. We normally buy bedding at a show, but to take 2 bales of hay takes up a lot of space in the lorry. So it's just being smart about what you take, but making sure you've got enough of everything. It's stressful. Yeah. It's really stressful. It's the worst part. It's by far the worst part.
Prize money works? Would you be happy to speak about that?
Yeah, I don't win a lot of it. Prize money, normally, if you're an international, it comes off your competition fee at the end. So what you pay to be there, you normally pay when you leave. So for like the stabling, the competition, everything itself, if you say you win £50, they'll deduct that from what you owe them, and then you just pay the rest. So it can be deducted off. But then if you're at a local show, they used to give cash. They don't really do that anymore. You used to have the cash stapled to the sheet with your rosette, which was lovely, little bonus. But now it normally just gets deposited back into the bank account that you paid for the show with. So a local show, you're probably looking at £30 from prize money in a big class. At international, it can go up to like 1,500. Never won it.
Is there anything else interesting that people won't know behind the scenes that we don't get to see? We have spoken about quite a lot, to be fair.
I don't know. The different exercises we use. My horses don't. Donna, for example, gets ridden 3-4 times a week. Not a lot. I don't tend to overwork my horses. Like, you think about people going into an office every day, people who hate their jobs. They don't want to go into that office. It's the same taking a horse into an arena. Make it different. So we put poles on the canter track. She'll have a canter track day. We'll do a lunging day. There'll be long lines. Some days they'll just go out in the field. Some days they'll go in the turnout pen. We just try and break it up, really, for them, so that they do live the most natural life we can give them in the most unnatural habitat for them.
Yeah. Let's speak a little bit about you own a livery yard. When did you start all of that?
About this time last year, so about summer last year, 2024, we have 2 extra barns on the farm that we rent out to someone, and one of the ladies who's on livery there, she said, I have another horse coming over, and this yard that we rent, we don't have space. I said, well, I can have them. Well, maybe. But then I felt really bad for taking the client off to someone else. But anyway, everything was fine. And we had these 2 stables, freestanding stables on their own, the other end of the farm to my yard, or mine and my mum's yard. And we did them up because they hadn't been used in a while. And there was also a wooden block, which you would have seen on my TikTok of me renovating it. That was ruined. The roof was gone. The wood was just breaking down and mouldy. So I've refurbished all of that. And I've now got her 2 Portuguese stallions. I'm not going to say Spanish. She'll tell me if I say Spanish. Portuguese stallions in there. And they're both really lovely. Their 2 stallions live next to each other. We don't have any problems, really. They've got V-bars, like the anti-weave bars, so they can't touch. But when we open their doors, they've just got a stable front, so they can touch. And they don't really fight. They'll squeal a little bit, but horses need to interact. So I'm not too bothered about it at all. I like that they can touch, and I like that they have a little play every so often. But they're good fun. They're really good fun.
Let's chat about your social media. You started TikTok. Speak me through it.
So I actually started TikTok when I was in 6th form. And I made the account name, which is what it still is now, which is Cantrell-Dressage. And I didn't want anyone to know. I thought it was really embarrassing. I had a friend in school who is still doing very well on TikTok now. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but she does more like lifestyle, typical human life, rather than equestrian picking up shit. And I thought, this looks really fun. And I also did performing arts and drama in school. So as soon as I was born, I was a performer. I like to be on a horse. I like to be in an arena. I like to be on a stage, singing, dancing, acting, whatever it was. I liked the whole idea of performing. So when TikTok came about and I was doing horses, it kind of scratched that itch for me, that still want to perform. But then I was also so worried about what people thought, because I was trying to still be the normal kid in school who goes out and doesn't go home and shovel shit and stinks. So I did keep it a bit of a secret, and then I found out that they knew, my friendship group knew, and then it kind of became a bit bigger. And then when I left school, I was like, do you know what? Let's do this. Let's make it bigger. And the thing that really blew up for me was the hungover videos, which is pretty much what everyone knows about. Every single video I post now, I've still got people commenting like, is anyone else here waiting for the next hungover video? And I'm like, guys, it's really unpleasant to make, and they aren't fake. Let me just say that they are not fake. I do feel horrific. I cannot hack a hangover at all.
What are some of the benefits that have come along with starting your social media?
Before I started social media, so all the while before social media, I was already competing internationally, and I had no sponsors. Everyone I competed against, it is an elitist sport, so they do tend to have quite a lot of money, and they are quite wealthy. So they had sponsors left, right, and centre, and were doing really well because they were going out and winning and getting all the recognition. And I was just bottom 5, like, yeah, I'm just having a good time. No sponsors, just me and my mum doing it. We don't have a groom. We never really have had a groom. I don't have a groom now. We have a freelance person, but other than that, it is like a 3-woman run show. So TikTok opened a lot of doors in terms of sponsorships and recognition. Like the fact I find it crazy that I went to London International Show, only one person, but they came up to me and asked me for a photo. Whereas, and also I get dressage riders now, like pony riders, who are like, oh, are you going to any Premier Leagues? Like, I follow you. This is really cool. And it has been a lot easier now, almost, to make a breakthrough now that I do get more recognition. It's a fine line between in everyone's face on TikTok and also keeping it professional. And I'm hoping I am keeping it to the professional side, because I do only take on sponsors that I really do believe in. So that has definitely helped, especially in the sense of just the support. People post like, good luck, Teghan, going to your first international 2025, and it's like, oh, like they actually know I'm doing it. That's really sweet. Whereas before, my 2 friends would know that I'm off to an international and that's it. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's such a big achievement. I'd love to share it, and I love that people are now supporting me through that. And it's just made this lovely big community in like it's like a little support bubble now. And I can go to one sponsor and say something like, oh, no, I haven't got a white pad. Would you mind supplying me one that has a GB flag on? And they're like, yeah, of course I can. Let's do this. Like, good luck. This is your good luck charm. So in that sense, it has eased off monetary as well. Mm-hmm. It's helped because I haven't had to buy. And I'm so grateful for that. But I don't have to buy 15 bags of feed anymore because Spinners kindly helped me out with that. And Numblers, again, like I just mentioned, Equitex and Imperial Equestrian, they both supply me every time I go to a show. If I need some new white joggers, Jess is on it. She's like, yep, here they are, go, good luck. So it's less of a stress for me being like, oh, but I need to buy 180 pair of joggers. I need to also get a new Numbler because I stained the last one because I dropped it in mud. Sounds like me, that. And then, yeah, it's just everyone is so supportive and willing to help me now. And I almost feel more part of the squads in the competition now, because before I was a bit more withdrawn and a bit like, I'm just here giving it a go, whereas now I'm like, no, I'm going for it, let's do this.
Have you found any negatives that have come along with social media?
The hate. And people are so toxic, but you get that in real life anyway. So my biggest hate comment is for my lack of turnout in winter, and there's only about 4 months that we can't turn our horses out on grass. And I tried to mention to them that I really do try and hand graze them. We give them the best care I can. They have physio, they have magnetic rugs, they have massage rugs, they have everything I can possibly give them. I just can't put them on frozen clay when I know they're going to go out there and cause themselves an injury. And people are like, oh, well, that's selfish, you're only doing it for the sport. I'm not doing it for the sport, I'm doing it for their well-being, because they will go out there and break a leg and then they'll be tied up in a stable for 6 months while that leg repairs. That's not fair. They much prefer going out in the sandpen, having a play, having a roll, having a buck, having a fart, they love it, but it's just not grass for them. But they have ad lib hay. I do try and replace it as much as I possibly can, but sometimes it is annoying that I can't turn out on grass in the winter. But that is my biggest hate comment, and people call me abusive for it, even though I promise you I'm not trying to abuse my horses.
But on the whole, social media is a positive thing, and it's brought a lot of benefits to you, and you enjoy doing it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I really love it.
Thing. What can we expect to see from you on social media? Have you got anything exciting coming up?
I have something very big coming up that I cannot say a word about, but there is something very big in the works.
You need to go follow to see that.
That is hopefully June time that will be released. But I also, in terms of TikTok, I want to go back into eventing.
Oh, okay.
So now Bertie's come home.
Yeah.
I've seen Demir's just done his first one-day event. I want to do that. I want to go out. I mean, I'm not going to go and do 90, whatever height he was doing. I'm going at good 60, 70, pushing it. So, but I'd like to vlog that and my journey back into eventing, or even just taking Bertie show jumping and enjoying it. The whole idea of a dressage rider jumping a show jumping pony seems to be very fun for the audience. They seem to love it, for one. And two, I think it's good fun for me to do it. Mm-hmm. Why not? Bertie loves it. I might as well take him out and pop him over a couple of jumps when I've got the chance.
Yeah.
And film it for fun. If I fall off, I fall off. It's good content, isn't it?
You're obviously very busy with the dressage now. You're going back into eventing. You have the social media. You have the livery yard. What does a typical day look like in your life?
Every day is different. Every day is different. So every morning I get up, I have 4 to muck out. My mum does 4, I do 4. And my nan, bless her, who's 82, does her 2 horses every morning and her 4 hay nets. So it is very much in the morning, we get the work done and we work all together. Sorry, I've just smacked the mic again. We work all together in the mornings to get the morning work done. That is the hardest part of my day, is the mucking out. No one likes it. If you like it, I'm sorry, but there is something wrong with you. What can you enjoy about picking up poo? There's nothing nice about it. So get through those first 4 stables, and then now that our fields are good, we turn out the first half of the day, ride the ones that are staying in, and then swap them over, vice versa, ride them in the afternoon. And then sometimes I'll go off teaching or go off riding for someone, and I'll leave them in the fields or leave them with my mum or in the stable, or if they're being ridden, then I leave them in for the owners. I go off and do my thing, and then I come home, and I mainly teach locally, so it's not too far. I'm never gone for too long. And then I come home and I finish up. And I'm normally done. A late evening would be about 6:30, they're finished up.
Mm-hmm. Let's touch on the teaching a little bit then. When did you start teaching?
When I was 16.
And what was that experience like for you?
There was a Facebook post that I got tagged in for a riding school, and I have only recently just left. I was there for 5 years and I loved it, and it was really eye-opening for me. But that was mainly my first teaching experience, other than teaching maybe my friends' kids on my ponies, or my mum's friends' kids, on my ponies. I didn't really have a passion. I almost felt like I was too young to go out and teach adults how to ride. It wasn't my place to do it. I'm 16 or 32. It just didn't feel right. So to bring kids through the sport now and to see them progress, and some of them have bought their own horses and ponies, or they're still there and they're riding the best ones there, that is really lovely. The fact that I've brought people into the sport, but also taught them how to ride. And they're all lovely riders, really, really good riders. I'm really proud of them. But teaching wise, it was maybe when I was about 18 that I then broke into a bit more dressage, going to private yards, running through tests. The highest level I teach to is probably about advanced medium. So I don't teach people up to Grand Prix. Again, that I'm still learning. I don't feel like I should be able to teach people at that level when I don't know it entirely yet. So I will just slowly work up the levels, build up my clientele. There's a lot of people, I teach mainly kids or teenagers, which again I love, and I think they like that I'm only 21, so I'm quite relatable to them, and they like the whole TikTok thing.
Yeah.
So I really do enjoy that. They're really good fun. But there's also adults who I teach who also love their job, absolutely love their ponies and their horses. And that's always fun, just to help them with little things, even if it's a 10-metre circle, or it doesn't have to be anything special. But just as long as I'm helping them improve their horse, I love it. I do love it. I love helping them.
You mentioned that the riding school was quite eye-opening. What do you mean by that?
It was an experience, to say the least. It has its ups and downs, but I was very, very privileged in the sense I didn't go to a riding school. My mum taught me how to ride. I'd never been to a riding school before I taught there. And for most people, that's how they get into the sport. And I'd never seen it. I didn't know what it was like. And when I started teaching there were families who were paying their last £35 they had in their bank because their kids were so wanting to do horse riding that I wanted to give them the best best lesson I could to help them improve as quick as they could and then find a career in horses. But it made me even more grateful for what I have and what I had as a child, because I did have it easy compared to other people who are trying to make their breakthrough, for sure.
Amazing. I ask every single guest this. Obviously, the podcast is called Beyond the Stable.
Yes.
So I want to know what you do beyond the stable when you're not with horses.
Pub.
That's where my favourite TikToks come from.
Pub. So my cliche when I first started TikTok was more clubbing. I can't stand clubbing anymore.
Really?
I think that's an age thing. I think you grow up and then you're just surrounded by sweaty people and it's just not my scene. It's not my scene. So I love a pub garden. We will go. You might see me in a bar, but when I see my friends, it is normally, let's just pop to the pub and have one drink and then come home. My best friend's also just bought a dog when I bought a puppy at the same time. So we have like our weekly dog walk catch-ups. I love them with a coffee. That's always fun. And if I'm not doing anything involved with alcohol, then it's not, it seems to be quite often. But if not, then it's normally me and my boyfriend or my friends go to Topgolf. I normally try and go away from the farm so that it's like it's a break from horses. Because although I am so lucky to live on site, it also means it's non-stop. There's no break. So if you hear, I don't know, say it's my day off on a Sunday and my mum calls me saying, you know, can you come and get a horse in? I can't say no, sorry, I'm in bed. I'm on site. It's not like I'm half an hour away and need to drive. So I like in my brain, again, to separate the two. I like my social life and I also like my horses, but I need to keep them separate in order to feel like I've had a break from the horses. Mm-hmm. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Now, my final question for you is, if I could have anyone on the podcast, who should I have? Whether it be an influencer, professional, anyone cool in the horse world?
Hard question. If this is going to be so rogue, Katie Price.
Fair.
I want Katie Price.
I want Katie Price.
Because she rode, she was dressage.
Yeah.
All of her stuff was pink.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, I've watched her series or whatever it was with her kids and stuff.
I want to see her. I want to hear the horse side of it. Tell me how you got into it. I want to know, why did you give up?
That's such a good one, you know.
Who's got your pink horse box now?
Yeah.
I want
it.
Can I have it?
No, that is a really, really good one. I would never have thought of that either.
No, Katie Price.
Yeah, bad. Okay.
I think she's iconic. People hate her, but I think she's absolutely iconic.
Yeah, no, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
Really good insight.
I feel like that was a load of waffle.
No, it was so good.
So I do apologise.
So and I bet everyone at home found it so educational and interesting as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're over on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing and liking. If you're on Spotify, make sure you're leaving a review. I'll see you next week, and thank you again.
Thank you. Bye.